You guys have no idea what's brewing behind the scenes at the VMAC today. What I'm about to tell you completely changes how we look at the future of this team. And I don't think people realize just how big of a swing John Schneider is taking right now, or how risky it actually is. There's been an eerie silence from some of our big-name vets, while guys nobody expected are suddenly being treated like the new cornerstones of the franchise. It's a total mystery, and the question hanging over Seattle is whether we're watching a masterclass in GM strategy or a historic mistake. You won't believe the news coming out today. So grab a seat, smash that like button, and let's get right into it. If you're a real 12, make sure to subscribe. We're pushing for 1,000 subscribers to show the world how strong the 12th man is down here in Brazil. You know that feeling when we're on top of the world, but the guy holding the keys to the vault is already looking 2 years down the road. That's exactly what's happening. While we're still brushing Super Bowl 60 confetti off our jerseys, John Schneider dropped a statement that definitely raised some eyebrows. Usually, after a ring, a GM goes on camera to talk about locking up stars or bringing in a high-profile vet to ring chase. Schneider did the polar opposite. He decided to put the spotlight on two kids who spent more time in the training room than in a helmet last season, Riley Mills and Elijah Arroyo. The strategy here is deep. Mills barely saw the field, appearing in only 6 games because of that knee injury he brought with him from college. But the flashes he showed, especially in the Super Bowl, revealed a raw power that made Schneider go on record saying he's a foundational piece of this roster. The fan base is split. Half the 12s think it's crazy to bet the future of the D-line on someone with that kind of medical red flag. But the other half, the ones who trust the process, know Schneider doesn't just talk to hear himself speak. He's projecting their ceiling, not what they've done so far. Same goes for Arroyo on offense. With a healthy cap, Seattle could have chased any veteran tight end. But the message was clear. The future belongs to the youth. It shows Mike McDonald doesn't just want big names. He wants specific chess pieces for his system. The tension really ramps up when you realize this bet on the injury projects is happening because the rest of that 2025 class, like Gray Zabel and Nick Emenwari, absolutely tore up the league. Zabel turned into a total mauler on the O-line, and Emenwari is right there in the DRY conversation. That's given Schneider a dangerous level of confidence. The idea that he can ignore the vet market because his draft process is bulletproof. It's a genius move if they stay healthy, but it's a long way down if those injuries come back. And that wasn't even the biggest shocker of the day. Wait for it, because what comes next is even harder to wrap your head around. And it's going to sting for anyone who just bought a jersey. In just 24 days, we went from the high of watching Kenneth Walker 3 hoist that Super Bowl MVP trophy to the cold reality that he's probably never wearing the neon green and blue again. The front office decided not to use the franchise tag on him. Letting the MVP of the biggest game walk for nothing, with zero protection, is something you almost never see in NFL history. Seattle basically threw away their leverage on purpose. Schneider gave us the usual, "We'd love to have Ken back" speech, but the very next sentence gave it away. It's about the collective and the cap. The truth is, Zach Charbonnet's ACL tear changed the math. Without Charbonnet to split the carries for a huge chunk of 2026, Seattle would have to pay top-of-the-market money for a single bell cow back. And this team's philosophy has always been about a productive, cheap committee. Fans are losing it on social media. How do you let the guy who put up 135 yards on the Patriots just walk out the door? Walker just joined a tiny, weird club of MVPs who switch teams right after winning a title. Teams like Denver and Kansas City are already circling like sharks, ready to offer the $14 million a year that Seattle refused to pay. Strategically, the move makes sense on paper, but it's a gut punch to the locker room's morale. Schneider is choosing to keep the identity of the defense, the dark side, intact instead of paying an offensive superstar. He believes Seattle's run game is plug-and-play, essentially saying anyone can produce behind a line that's finally clicking. It's a massive gamble. If the offense stalls out in 2026 without Walker's explosiveness, this decision will haunt Schneider forever. But if he uses that cash to lock down the defense and the team keeps winning, he'll be called a visionary. The thing is, losing your best defensive player is hard enough. But what's happening on the other side of the ball might be the final blow to our hopes of a back-to-back. While we're all spiraling over Walker leaving, a bombshell dropped from the defensive trenches that could change Mike Macdonald's scheme forever. DeMarcus Lawrence, the mentor to these young guys and the man who had the guts to tell the Cowboys to their face that he'd only win a ring in Seattle, is considering retirement. The news hit like a ton of bricks. ESPN reported that at 33, with 6 kids and finally a Super Bowl ring on his finger, Lawrence feels his mission in football is complete. He came in as a high-end mercenary, delivered clutch sacks in the playoffs, shifted the locker room culture, and now he might just ride off into the sunset. Losing Lawrence is about way more than just a stat sheet. He put up 6 sacks and 3 forced fumbles, but his real value was drawing the double teams that let Derek Hall and Boy Mayfield. If he walks, Seattle loses the emotional anchor of that D-line. The strategic outlook here is worrying. Macdonald built this championship on the idea that the front four could dominate without needing to blitz constantly. Without Lawrence, that house of cards starts to shake. The 12s are pleading with him on socials to give us one more year. But the guy sounds like his mind is made up. He proved Jerry Jones wrong and showed he was still an elite Pro Bowler. The cap impact is positive since it clears up a lot of room. But how do you replace a future Hall of Famer who's still playing at an elite level? The free agent market for edge rushers is insane right now. And as we saw with Walker, Schneider isn't looking to overpay. That pushes us right back to that initial bet on the rookies, Mills and Arroyo. Everything in Seattle right now seems tied to a plan where the youth has to take over immediately. If Lawrence really hangs it up, the dark side is going to need a new vocal leader, fast. The vibe in the city is massive gratitude for what he did, but a real fear of the void he's leaving behind. And if you think the news is over, buckle up, because the final move of the day involves the coaching staff and might be the ballsiest one of all. Talk about an emotional roller coaster, right? We've seen the bold bet on the rookies, the painful goodbye to our MVP Kenneth Walker, and the potential end of the road for a giant like DeMarcus Lawrence. The Seattle Seahawks are proving they aren't afraid to rebuild even while sitting on top of the world. It's a cold, calculated strategy that requires ice in your veins. Schneider and Macdonald are rewriting the franchise DNA right in front of us. But what do you think? Is Schneider a genius, or is he being reckless? Drop a comment below, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and let's hit that 1,000 subscriber goal. Go Hawks!